Other fight that would sell and that would be huge, it would be that. It would be Diaz 3.
Oh, yeah.
That could be, especially if Diaz gets past Poirier.
Yes.
Shit, even if he doesn't. I mean, just that fight alone. I mean, there's the history between those two guys. I mean, that would be...
And it's so appealing stylistically as well, the fight, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a grappler at heart. I love grappling. But I also understand that a jiu-jitsu tournament will put people to sleep, you know. Even if you're into jiu-jitsu, it's hard to watch a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yes.
But anybody can see a punch hitting someone in the head and them falling down. That's, you know, that's exciting. And him and Diaz is such a great personality matchup. It's such a great skill clash. You know, if I was to design somebody that's going to bring the best out of a corner, you'd want someone that, you know, can hit back and take a big shot and put up at the trash. It's a beautiful fight. I always...
You know, we're still working on that fight. That fight's not done yet, but yeah, I wouldn't count out a Conor.
Dana said the UFC card, White House card, should be the most watched card ever. So again, you're going to have guys like this in order to achieve that, because right now they don't have the roster to do it. So we got to do Blast from the Past. It's a McDonald's card. Nate, Conor.
The biggest UFC card in history, potentially featuring McGregor versus Diaz, is not chasing traditional revenue. It's not pay-per-view. Chael Sonnen revealed this bombshell. With the event fixed on Paramount+, the UFC isn't selling traditional PPV buys, fundamentally altering the financial landscape for its most expensive fighters. This revelation immediately raises questions about fighter motivation and the true cost of legacy when usual massive cash incentives are restructured. It challenges everything we thought about major fight economics.
Because that's not the fight I want to see next, okay? If Nate Diaz comes back and gets a big win over someone in the welterweight division, okay? And he does it impressively, and then the McGregor fight happens, that's when I'm interested. But right now, I feel like the hardcore fans are kind of in mutual agreement that it's Masvidal or Gaethje. To us, it's kind of Masvidal or Gaethje, and for Chael Sonnen and Ariel Helwani to both say that they think Nate Diaz trilogy should be next is strange to me. Very strange to me, because I would love to see either Gaethje or Masvidal. I feel like everyone's in agreement here. We've seen that Donald Cerrone has been beaten by Conor McGregor in his return at UFC 2.
This unprecedented financial model forces a reevaluation of why top stars like Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz would step into the octagon for this historic White House card. Dana White demands guys like this to make it the most watched ever, but without traditional PPV, incentives differ. Sonnen questioned why bring in your most expensive fighters under these conditions. The calculus now relies more on personal stakes, legacy, and the sheer prestige of the venue than raw gate and pay-per-view profits. It's a risky gamble, yet one that could redefine what motivates these combat icons.
I don't know what the next move is. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you want to run it back with Jake? I mean, I remember you won that fight. A lot of people felt that.
The location itself, the White House, is the undeniable hook. Sonnen emphasized this, drawing a parallel to the UFC's groundbreaking Sphere event, where the venue became the star. This time, the White House isn't just a backdrop, it's the centerpiece, designed to captivate even casual viewers beyond the fighters themselves. This unprecedented spectacle aims to draw eyeballs through historical significance, rather than just traditional combat sports hype. It spotlights the UFC's innovative strategy to leverage iconic settings, creating a cultural phenomenon far beyond the cage.
And then you see what happens with Anthony Joshua. It kind of feels like...
And what a fight it would be! The third clash between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor is not merely about nostalgia, it's about legacy. Analysts are fiercely divided. Some predict a statement finish for McGregor, a return to his devastating early form, while others lean into Diaz's legendary chin, relentless pace, and uncanny ability to drag opponents into chaotic, unpredictable war. This trilogy, if it happens, would be the ultimate test of adjustments and composure, pushing both men to their absolute limits in a narrative that transcends their previous era-defining encounters.
You know what I mean? Like,
talking about who?
About Jake Paul.
Nah, he's doing it. What, he fought the heavyweight champion and kind of stuff. He's doing a great job, I think. And then besides that, I'm doing a real fight. I would like to fight. I'd like to fight somebody. Man, for the right price. I'm ready to get back in real action. I want to fight either McGregor 3. I want to fight maybe Dustin Poirier if he sent me to the pussy, and then maybe Mike Perry. We'll see what happens in the future, though.
You want the White House card?
Yeah, that'd be dope too.
McGregor on the White House card?
America gang, baby. You already know what's popping.
Brendan Schaub was blunt. If the UFC brings Nate Diaz back, there's only one reason: unfinished business against Conor McGregor for the BMF belt. Diaz's career, despite a loyal fan base and legendary moments, has seen recent setbacks, notably an embarrassing night losing to Jake Paul in boxing. Schaub acknowledged that Diaz's recent boxing numbers were atrocious, suggesting his momentum isn't what it once was. Yet the allure of McGregor is so potent, it completely overshadows any recent slip-ups, proving the trilogy's magnetic pull remains undiminished.
Obviously, Nate Diaz is 40 years old. He shot to stardom when he shocked the world and choked out Conor McGregor.
Hey, I'm not surprised,
Then they had the rematch. McGregor looked great, beat him up over 5 rounds, but he wasn't able to finish it. Now, Nate Diaz, because of that, made a tremendous amount of money, and his stardom just shot through the absolute roof, and he made an absolute fortune. And then he left the UFC, and he went off to box Jake Paul, and he lost to Jake Paul, okay? It was an embarrassing night for Nate Diaz. Simple.
Continuing. Despite recent boxing losses, Diaz himself is clearly focused on real fights and unfinished business. He explicitly stated he's not looking for side quests, hinting that for the right price, he's ready to walk back into the fire against McGregor, Dustin Poirier, or other big names. The notion of fighting on a White House card brought no hesitation. For Diaz, it's simple: big stage, real smoke, and a chance to prove he still belongs among the elite. This raw hunger for legitimate challenges demonstrates his unwavering fighting spirit.
But wouldn't you rather see Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor at the White House? That's the fight that I'd rather see, if I'm honest. Nate Diaz versus Max Holloway, yeah, that would be a tremendous fight. We'd all love to see it if Nate Diaz was to come back. But if he was, and if Conor McGregor does actually make it back, I think that's the fight to make all day long. The one-on-one, they were some of the biggest fights in UFC history. Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor at the White House would be absolute.
However, not everyone agrees on the timing. MMA Guru voiced a significant reservation, stating the trilogy isn't the fight he wants to see next. He argues that for the McGregor fight to truly make sense and captivate hardcore fans, Diaz first needs an impressive return, securing a substantial welterweight win. Without this crucial step, some feel the fight lacks immediate competitive legitimacy, preferring matchups like Masvidal or Gatege, questioning if the trilogy as hyped is premature without a fresh win for Diaz.
We will have Conor McGregor versus someone, Michael Chandler or Nate Diaz, in the co-main event. So that just kind of sets the tone for how big that card would be. What do you think? Do you think Conor McGregor will actually make it back? Of course, he hasn't fought since 2021, right? It's going to be 5 years since he last fought. I, for one, fair play to the guy. Fair play, man. Respect. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to come back. He's got lots of other avenues and ways to make money. But fighting is something that never leaves you, okay? It's a part of who you are. It's in your DNA. It's part of your soul. And he wants to come back and he wants to get his hands raised in victory. Of course, he wants to come back and be a part of that White House card as well. But does he make it?
It's a strange divide when influential figures like Chael Sonnen and Ariel Helwani are reportedly championing the Diaz-McGregor trilogy as the immediate next step, conflicting with the sentiment of many hardcore fans. This disparity highlights a tension between spectacle and sporting integrity. While insiders might prioritize immense marketability and historic appeal, a segment of the fan base seeks a more traditional, merit-based path to such a monumental bout. It creates a fascinating debate about what truly drives fight matchmaking in the highest echelons of MMA.
Because that's not the fight I want to see next, okay? If Nate Diaz comes back and gets a big win over someone in the welterweight division, okay? And he does it impressively, and then the McGregor fight happens, that's when I'm interested. But right now, I feel like the hardcore fans are kind of in mutual agreement that it's Masvidal or Gaethje. To us, it's kind of Masvidal or Gaethje, and for Chael Sonnen and Ariel Helwani to both say that they think Nate Diaz trilogy should be next is strange to me. Very strange to me, because I would love to see either Gaethje or Masvidal. I feel like everyone's in agreement here. We've seen that Donald Cerrone has been beaten by Conor McGregor in his return at UFC 2.
Michael Bisping offers a candid perspective on Diaz's trajectory. He credits Diaz's stunning upset over McGregor as the seismic moment that catapulted him into overnight stardom, forcing the world to pay attention. The rematch intensified the spotlight, but it was the immense payday that truly changed everything, leading to tremendous money and mainstream fame. Bisping underscores how a single fight and its subsequent earnings can reshape a fighter's legacy and financial future, irrespective of their original record or standing. It's a testament to the power of a defining upset.
The UFC reached out to him, taking what's his. Is that the BMF belt against Conor, like that'd be the only reason you bring Nate back.
Yeah. Unfinished, I could only see being Conor.
That's it. His business is finished outside Conor.
Yeah.
But also, it is what it is. I mean, he's had a great career, especially with his record and stuff that he's done. He's had a great career, has a huge fan base. Nobody watched him box Masvidal. The numbers were atrocious. So,
and coming off a loss from Jake Paul,
that doesn't help.
No,
but again, you got to think the UFC's they're doing a McDonald's card here, like Happy Meals and Big Macs and Quarter Pounders and the McFlurries. So Nate versus Conor, all right, like that would get people crunk.
It is
people. The people that don't watch the sport.
It's probably got to be their fight has to be probably one of the highest, if not the highest, pay-per-view games, right?
Yeah, it's up there. Now,
Yet Braun Sping also pointed to the recent embarrassing night for Diaz, referring to his loss against Jake Paul in the boxing ring. While acknowledging Diaz's incredible rise in fortune post-McGregor, Braun Sping made it clear that leaving the UFC to box Jake Paul didn't help his momentum. This setback raises questions about Diaz's current competitive form and whether he can truly return to the elite level needed to face McGregor at such a high-stakes event. It's a reality check on a storied career, highlighting the risks of venturing outside the octagon.
The business side of it. And this is a very different night. First off, you got to fix revenue. You're not selling pay-per-views. Now, that could change. I'm operating with the information that we have now. You got fixed. It's on Paramount Plus. They're not going to do pay-per-view. So it's a question of why bring in some of your most expensive guys. Now, secondly, and far more importantly, is the location as the hook. The draw to this, much like when they played Sphere the first time. And so that was the only time that the UFC has ever, including the time that they went to Madison Square Garden, the only time that they have ever used a venue as the star was Sphere. Now we've got the White House.
Despite the recent challenges, Bisping insists that if Diaz returns and McGregor makes his own comeback, the trilogy is the only fight that makes complete sense. He acknowledges a potential thrilling matchup with Max Holloway, but believes previous clashes between Diaz and McGregor weren't just big, they were era-defining events. Staging the third chapter on a White House card would elevate an already historic rivalry into something truly unforgettable, transcending typical fight hype to become a cultural moment. The sheer magnitude of their shared history demands this final resolution.
Dana's not going to bring people to the White House for them to retire. He's just not. He's not going to bring people to the White House for them to then turn the gun and say that they're not going to go on the next tour, wherever that tour takes us. The show must go on. So from my perspective, it makes it very unlikely that you're going to see Conor, you're going to see Jon Jones. Now, Jon is not this huge draw. Conor is. So there is times where you've got to blend these two worlds together, right? There is times where you're going to use Conor to bring in all of these eyeballs. And even if he specifically isn't going to take you down the road, that attention can then spawn off to other guys. There is a truth to that. But it was also true that it's very hard to build stars at the time that you have Conor McGregor, because he sucks all the air out of the room.
The discussion around McGregor's comeback itself is fraught with anticipation and skepticism. Bisping noted McGregor hasn't fought since 2021, meaning nearly 5 years since his last appearance. He gave fair play and respect to McGregor for even considering a return, stressing that it's not about the money for someone with his wealth. Instead, Bisping believes the competitive fire never leaves you, that it's in your DNA, part of your soul. The real question is whether that burning hunger is enough to get him physically prepared for such a grand stage.
To plan this Thursday, potentially maybe you'll call for this White House card. What would it mean for you to actually be on this White House card, especially with, we don't know who's on there yet. Maybe Jon Jones might be on there. You guys might be on there together, like on the same card together, White House. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be an honor to be on the White House card, but I take one day at a time. I would love to be the face of it. Olympic champion from USA coming to support the American company, the UFC, and kind of grow myself in that area. But if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, the world keeps going on, and the next big thing will come. And whether I'm on it on the U.S. White House card or the next card or the one before that.
Moreover, Dana White's ambitious White House card demands a lineup of legends. Bisping revealed the potential main event could realistically feature McGregor against either Michael Chandler or Nate Diaz, illustrating the colossal scale of the event. This suggests Dana isn't just looking for fights, he's curating historical moments. The possibility of McGregor, even after such a long layoff, being considered for these high-profile matchups underlines his enduring star power and the desperate need for marquee names to deliver on the promise of the most-watched card ever.
But yeah, they said they're starting the White House card last week, Tuesday matchmaking. They said they were starting it.
Damn.
I haven't got a call. Haven't got a jingle. Haven't heard nothing. Still Sugar Show might not be on the White House card. Don't. No, it's still far. It's still so far out. Like it's still far enough out to. I don't know. I'm seeing John Jones. I'm seeing GSP maybe.
I seen that.
Conor versus Nate.
I thought GSP retired like forever.
He did.
Okay.
But it's like they got to do something big. They promised something massive for the Sphere and it sucked.
Chael Sonnen underscored Dana's ultimate goal. He's not going to bring people to the White House for them to retire. The show must go on. This implies that any fighter gracing this historic stage, especially McGregor, is expected to continue their career, not use it as a swan song. While McGregor can undeniably draw huge eyeballs, Sonnen also highlighted a tricky dynamic. Building new stars around McGregor is incredibly difficult because he sucks all the air out of the room. His singular presence can easily overshadow everyone else on the card.
You know, maybe, do you feel like you shouldn't even be doing this?
Yet, that same overwhelming star power is precisely what makes McGregor's involvement so irresistible. Sonnen concluded that McGregor's presence guarantees eyeballs, buzz, and a platform few others could ever provide. Even if his long-term commitment is uncertain, the immediate impact of his name on a fight poster, especially for an event of this magnitude, is unmatched. It's a strategic dilemma for the UFC: leverage McGregor's immense draw, knowing he might eclipse others, or risk a less impactful card without him. The White House card needs that explosive energy. Younger talent is also eyeing this historic opportunity. Olympic champion Gable Stevenson expressed immense excitement at the possibility of being on the White House card, calling it an honor and a chance to represent the USA. He yearns to be the face of it, supporting the UFC while growing his own profile. Stevenson emphasized that sharing a card with legends like McGregor or John Jones would be an unforgettable experience and a major boost for his burgeoning career. This event is a beacon for aspirational fighters, offering unparalleled exposure. However, not all stars have received the coveted call. Sean O'Malley, another high-profile fighter, candidly admitted he hasn't received any confirmations, stressing his spot isn't guaranteed. He noted the event is still far out, leaving ample time for the UFC to finalize matchups, but the silence is telling. O'Malley also pointed out the UFC promised something massive for the Sphere, and it sucked, creating immense pressure for them to truly deliver on the White House card. The anticipation is palpable, but so is the underlying anxiety of missed expectations. The potential roster being floated around is a who's who of MMA royalty, from John Jones to even the long-retired GSP. The mere mention of these names alongside the McGregor-Diaz trilogy underscores the UFC's intent to create an America's game spectacle, unlike any other. This dream card strategy aims to blanket the event in star power, hoping to override any doubts about competitive readiness or the unconventional revenue model. It's a bold play to assemble a cast that promises pure, unadulterated entertainment, even if it means reaching into the past. The stylistic appeal of Diaz versus McGregor is undeniable. Even a grappler at heart, one who admits jiu-jitsu tournaments can pull people to sleep, understands the universal draw of a punch hitting someone in the head and then falling down. Diaz's ability to absorb punishment and relentlessly push forward, combined with McGregor's precision and explosive power, creates a dynamic that is pure cinematic chaos. It's a fight designed for mass appeal, a guaranteed slugfest that speaks to the primal thrill of combat, making it a promoter's dream. Their personalities are just as magnetic as their fighting styles. Diaz, the Stockton bad boy, unfiltered and confrontational. McGregor, the notorious showman, sharp-tongued and electrifying. This great personality matchup ensures that even outside the cage, the build-up would be appointment viewing, laden with trash talk, mind games, and genuine animosity. If you were to design someone to bring the best out of McGregor, you'd want someone who can hit back and take a big shot and put up with the trash, and Diaz fits that blueprint perfectly. The talk of a potential rematch with Jake Paul for Diaz clearly indicates his desire for significant fights, but his focus remains on legitimate combat challenges. He's looking at unfinished business and real fights, specifically a trilogy with Conor McGregor or a clash with Dustin Poirier. This shows he's not interested in novelty bouts for long. He wants to be back in the fire, proving his worth against the best. For the right price, Diaz is ready to re-enter the elite, driven by the lure of true competition and legacy. Dana White's intention for the White House card is clear. It's a McDonald's card, built for maximum appeal to both casual and hardcore fans. It aims to deliver Happy Meals and Big Macs and Quarter Pounders and the McFlurries. Nate versus Conor fits this perfectly, guaranteed to get people crunk, even those who don't typically watch the sport. It's a strategic move to create one of the highest viewed, if not the highest viewed, fights in history, tapping into a broader audience through universally recognized names and high-octane drama. So, as the White House card looms, draped in historical significance and unprecedented logistical challenges, the questions persist. Will Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor finally settle their score, defying recent setbacks and fan divisions to forge a legacy-defining trilogy? Can McGregor, after years away, recapture his competitive fire on the grandest stage? The UFC is banking on iconic names and a legendary venue to deliver a spectacle beyond compare, promising a clash of titans that could either solidify their positions in history or mark the dramatic end of an era. The world waits, breathless.